Okay, so when are you going to move then?
Your Honor, I have had to deal with all the demands of the court, so I cannot explore that.
Ma'am,
So
I understand all of that. The question becomes, when can you move?
that is a question mark to you and me both, Your Honor. I do not know. I have nowhere to go. I am solo in this world.
Okay, ma'am, I don't know. You guys keep talking about lawyers. I've not met them. I don't know.
By necessity, where your court is located, the cell tower, Wi-Fi for the buildings, I will literally fry and be unable to move. That's why I couldn't come today.
This courtroom showdown took a wild turn when a self-proclaimed tenant showed up with an excuse that left everyone scratching their heads. She insisted she couldn't physically appear in court because the Wi-Fi signals and radiation from electronic devices inside the courtroom would supposedly shut her body down. Yes, that was her actual explanation, delivered with complete seriousness, as if it were medical fact. Judge Simpson, known for his patience, is clearly doing everything he can to keep his cool, but you can sense he's just about done entertaining this bizarre defense. It's one of the strangest justifications we've seen in court, especially coming from someone who reportedly owes over $12,000 in back rent. What do you think? Does this woman genuinely believe what she's saying, or is it just another tactic to avoid responsibility? Should court start cracking down harder on situations like this? Let's break it all down and see how this unusual case unfolds, one unbelievable moment at a time.
Your name?
Pamela Peel.
All right. Miss Gerler here?
She's on the phone.
No, she's on the...
I do not know how this got muted again, Your Honor. I believed I was unmute. I have been present.
You're good right now.
Okay.
All right, where are you folks in regard to this case? Did you receive a copy of her answer?
Yes, I did. Yes, I received it on the 13th. So I'm the owner of the home at First Way, Dexter, Michigan, where the defendant is now occupying the first floor. I'm very nervous in this setting, so that's why I wrote everything.
That's okay, me too. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm seeking possession of my property, and I want the defendant to move out immediately. We have no lease. On September 23rd, 2021, the defendant and I made a month-to-month verbal rental agreement, and she agreed to pay $995 a month on the first day of each month following the first payment. On October 4th of this year, I gave the defendant the proper 30-day notice demanding possession of my property because of non-payment of rent.
Well, okay, let me stop you there.
Okay.
A 30-day can't be the subject of a non-payment of rent action.
Okay. So.
All right. Do you want her to move, or are you just terminating her tenancy? I mean, are you terminating your tenancy and want her to move, or do you want her to pay you?
I want her to move, and I want to also have a money judgment. So I can't do that?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, that's what I want.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm seeking a money judgment from the court for all back that she owes me as of December 1st, 2023, which is $11,995 plus court costs $215 and service fee of $68.
So how much is your
so the total
claim?
money judgment requested from the court is $12,278.
All right, Ms. Gerler, what do you have to say to that?
Your Honor, when I first moved in, it was to be a temporary arrangement. I had another place lined up that did not end up being represented appropriately. It was to be vacated and renovated. Didn't happen. I have attempted along the way to give Ms. Peel, the plaintiff, money. I became extremely ill with COVID, which I have long COVID, along with 2 other disabilities. When I became behind in rent because of illness and sought help from local agencies. The plaintiff was offered money from Faith in Action, and she declined those monies. And there were other monies from other agencies that would have been available that would have satisfied my arrearages at that time of $2,985. Declining those monies led me to believe that she simply wanted me to move out. So I tried to start packing possessions, became ill with COVID again. I have, in the court documents, outlined to you the many times since then that I have been afflicted with every COVID variant. I already have a serious extreme condition of electrohypersensitivity that I cannot easily find a place to live. I cannot live in group settings, be exposed to Wi-Fi, wireless meters, be near cell towers. I need a rural environment.
Wait a second. Did she really just say the rural environment isn't good enough for her? This is coming from someone who's living in a property without legal permission, yet somehow she's got a mental checklist like she's shopping for a vacation home. Imagine squatting in someone else's house and then acting like you're writing a lifestyle blog about the flaws in the scenery. It's giving review site energy without any of the actual ownership. And it doesn't stop there. She also claims she's constantly ill, like her immune system just can't handle the situation. Whether that's a bid for sympathy or the legal equivalent of leaving a 1-star tenant review, it's hard to say. But one thing is clear. She's putting serious effort into dodging responsibility rather than fixing her situation. Honestly, if she channeled even a fraction of this creativity into job applications, she'd probably be managing payroll at a national chain by now. And let's be real, claiming medical issues to avoid paying rent doesn't make you a victim. It makes you a real-life chance card from Monopoly, waiting for the next excuse to roll in. So, what's your take? Is she truly unwell, or just highly allergic to facing the consequences of her actions?
I no longer have a vehicle. I cannot use cell phones, smartphones, computers due to my electrohypersensitivity, and I thank the court for granting this Zoom appointment at the last minute since I was not supplied the forms necessary in the personal and mailing service I received, and was actually waiting because in our December 1st hearing with Judge Barr, he informed the plaintiff that she had filed incorrect paperwork and needed to refile. So I have been waiting for that paperwork to come, which I don't know, something changed and was not necessary. But
What incorrect paperwork? I don't have a notice to that.
Well, and that's whatever happened, Your Honor. That's what I heard in court, and I'm not privy to what happened thereafter. I am chronically ill, Your Honor. When I get well,
Ma'am, hold on.
Work.
Yes, ma'am.
I spoke with my attorney counsel yesterday, and she said my paperwork was fine. I think it was just not clear to Judge Barr what I wanted because I didn't know how to present my case. So,
yeah, I actually see what Judge Barr is saying right now. Well, you filed 2 different notices. That's why. I got it. It's fine. I think. Hold on. That's not that one. Right. You filed 2 different ones. But you've got, it appears to me, the correct paperwork. All right.
Your Honor, just to respond, that's what I heard from the judge. And my legal
Yeah, but
counsel,
this is another judge saying that that's wrong. It's correct.
and that's fine. I have no problem, but I was waiting on that paperwork. I know that the plaintiff is someone who tries to do things appropriately, but what did not happen appropriately with this home that has been a long time rental, is that there is no certificate of compliance on file with the township. And the
Okay, so when are you going to move then?
Your Honor, I have had to deal with all the demands of the court, so I cannot explore that yet because I was required to apply for SER with the DHS, which was declined. I have contacted every agency available to me thus far.
Ma'am, do you understand she doesn't want you to pay rent and stay? She wants you to leave.
I understand that, sir, but to comply with the court and the paperwork required for this hearing, DHS, that's where I have put my first attentions. I have been packing and moving things out of the house, which they have witnessed, but because of my extreme sensitivities, it is not easy for me to find a place where I can live safely. I have just recovered from my last bout with COVID, which has severely impacted me for the last 4 years and created these issues. And I have also...
Ma'am, I understand all of that. The question becomes, when can you move?
That is a question mark to you and me both, Your Honor. I do not know. I have nowhere to go. I am solo in this world. I have no vehicle. My car broke down June of 2022. And my situation is not a good one because of chronic illness.
What continues to baffle me is how some squatters manage to manipulate the system right out in the open. This woman willingly signed a lease, agreed to all the terms, and then, just like that, decided that paying rent was somehow optional. Fast forward, and she's more than $12,000 behind, yet she's still showing up to court armed with excuse after excuse instead of accountability. And here's where the system feels broken. Once that lease is signed, even if the tenant completely stops paying, the landlord's hands are tied. They can't just change the locks or remove the person. They're forced to start a formal eviction process, which isn't quick. It can stretch out for weeks or even months. And if the tenant knows how to play the game, like filing fake complaints or claiming health hazards, they can delay things even longer at times. It feels like just signing the lease gives them a free shelter pass, regardless of what they do after. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about who can stall better. So here's the big question. Should people who game the system like this be allowed to stay even one more night? Or should the judge have put their foot down long ago? Let's hear your thoughts.
My energy is not reliable, and sometimes 12 hours in the bed.
Okay, ma'am, I can appreciate all of that. But you also have to understand that the landlord is entitled to her premises back.
I understand that they request their premises back, and I have an appointment with Hawk on Monday. To what degree that will help, I do not know at this point. I have been unable to find assistance from anybody because they say I am not sustainable, because I am now forced to live only on my Social Security income, the house line.
Okay, ma'am. Here's what I'm going to do, because this has got to... I understand the difficulties that you're telling. I also understand that the landlord needs to resolve that. So I'm going to set this for a trial. You've raised some issues in your answer, but I'm going to set it for a yes, ma'am.
When I talked to my attorney, she said that there is no requirement for the compliance regulations in Webster Township where I live. And she's an attorney from Dexter. So,
they know more. They know more than us here, us other country folk from Pittsfield, or what?
I guess. I don't know. That's what she said. Is that correct?
What?
That's what she said.
I don't know. I guess she's from Dexter, so she knows more than us.
Township does
We're
not
just
issue.
little country judges up here. You know? Ma'am.
I actually called the zoning person too. She
Okay.
said-
And she said, yeah, probably she agreed.
I'm having difficulty hearing, Your Honor. Could that be repeated?
No. Okay. She went to Webster Township. The issue regarding the certificate of occupancy, it really isn't an issue because they don't require it for rental properties in Webster Township. That's the long and short of it.
I would like to know then why Legal Services of South Central Michigan gave me this form and checked
Okay,
it out. They
ma'am,
must
I
have
don't
obviously
know. You
researched
guys keep talking about lawyers. I've not met them. I don't know.
it.
All I know is this. You two are in front of me arguing a case. You have one position, plaintiff has another position. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this matter for non-jury trial. It will be in person.
Your Honor, that I hope you realize is not possible for me. I'm even being harmed waiting for 2.5 hours on my cell phone, which is on speaker remote
Ma'am,
from me.
then I don't know how I'm going to get you into court.
How is is it not possible for me to continue in this manner, sir? I have been before you to establish the severity of my condition. I become debilitated, incapacitated, ill. I lived in the basement of my prior home for 7 months because of radiation poisoning, and by necessity, where your court is located, there are many electronic communication requirements for police, fire, the cell tower, Wi-Fi for the buildings. I will literally fry and be unable to move. That's why I couldn't come today.
Can someone help me make sense of this? Because I genuinely need to know if this so-called tenant is being serious or just putting on a performance. She claims that cell towers and Wi-Fi signals are triggering real-time health issues. Yes, you heard that right. She says she's physically reacting to internet signals. I mean, is this an allergy to connectivity now? Unless her immune system has somehow gone wireless and started syncing with electronics, I'm finding this incredibly hard to believe. What's next? Is she going to argue that the landlord's Wi-Fi gave her mood swings, or that the courtroom's Bluetooth is affecting her energy levels? You can't make this stuff up. And the fact that judges are expected to sit through these types of claims with a straight face, honestly, they deserve hazard pay and an award for patience. It's amazing how some people will lean on fringe science to paint themselves as victims, just to stall eviction or avoid rent altogether. It feels less like a legal proceeding and more like the plot of a parody documentary. So tell me, do you think there's any truth to her story? Or is this just another case of someone trying to outsmart the system using wild theories and zero accountability?
This is not a fun scenario. And the landlords are well aware of my conditions. They had mitigated the house. They used Ethernet.
All right, ma'am. All right, look. Do you have any problem if I hold a trial and she appears by Zoom?
I guess not. I've been without income for a long time, and my preference is
Okay, look, folks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of folks out there that are
everyone
having
has
a hard
sad
time,
story.
and I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to deal with it every Friday, so I don't know that I can help you with any of that right now.
Right.
I'm just trying to set a trial date. Do you have any objection to her? What?
Tomorrow, the sooner the better.
I'm not coming in on Saturday. I'm this is not happening.
How about Monday?
No. What? We can do when? What time? 1 o'clock on Wednesday? Oh no, I can't do 1 o'clock. What time seriously can I do? Non-jury trial, December 20th, 2023,
Yep.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay. And
You need to appear in person. Ma'am, you can appear via Zoom.
right here?
Absolutely, that's where I'll be.
Okay.
And if I don't get this docket done, I'll be still sitting here from this one.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor, for the accommodation for my disabilities. I appreciate your sensitivity to the matter and your humor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bless you. I will sign off now.
All right. Lakestone Apartments versus Leslie Lewis, recall. Where's Miss Lewis? She's not here.
Honestly, I'm leaning heavily toward thinking this tenant was just making things up. Even if, by some wild stretch, her health complaints were genuine, it doesn't change the core issue. She hasn't paid a single dollar of the $12,000 she owes her landlord. Whether you believe her or not, that kind of financial neglect makes her look less like a victim and more like someone taking serious advantage of the system. Personally, I don't think squatters who rack up this kind of debt should be given extra leeway. But hey, maybe I'm a little tough on this topic. Now, as for Judge Simpson, the man deserves some serious credit. He kept his cool the entire time, stayed composed, even slipped in some dry humor here and there. And that takes serious restraint when you're faced with someone spinning tales that sound like science fiction. Did I know some folks say Judge Simpson comes across too strict, but let's be honest, his courtroom isn't exactly filled with saints. Every day, he's dealing with professional-level excuse makers, and sometimes, the most responsible thing a judge can do is lay down the facts with clarity and control. This case wasn't about explosive drama. It was about maintaining order and reminding people that real life is rules. The scariest part? How easily people can twist housing laws and turn them into a loophole playground. If she is telling the truth, then maybe it's time someone handed her a foil hat and a quiet cabin deep in the woods. But if she's not, she shouldn't just pay back rent. She should be paying interest. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Was Judge Simpson too firm or just right? And if you're into breaking down wild courtroom moments like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I've got more jaw-dropping legal showdowns coming your way daily. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't let bad Wi-Fi or bad excuses ruin your common sense.